Podcasts proudly presents the Wrestling is Real podcast, because wrestling needs us. Brought to you by KingofAmazon.com. Go to KingofAmazon.com when you do your shopping for Amazon to help the King of Podcasts. Shop for Amazon at KingofAmazon.com.
Time to go and recap a subpar SummerSlam as we begin episode 554 of the Wrestling is Real podcast. Let's go. 8 matches in the card. Compared to what I saw on Saturday night, the last episode, talking about NXT TakeOver 30 and AEW Dynamite, feel much different. Overall, there's a lot left to be desired out of this. And listen, it wasn't that the pay-per-view wasn't bad. Okay? I felt, somewhat satisfied with some of the matches we had. The outcomes. My thing was, it's just some of the matches that we had all together. I mean, the real level of quality on the matches from a storyline perspective. And also the build of the stars themselves, which really stands out a lot here. And really doesn't help much to me, really to an extent. I feel indifferent. And I mean, again, I've been trying to grade on a curve. They had the opportunity to do SummerSlam tonight with the Thunderdome set, which looked good. Listen, Thunderdome so far is good. Watching it for the second time, I'm now into it. I definitely feel comfortable with the setup. And, the matches that we had, I didn't feel like it was easy for me to go ahead and get engaged into the Thunderdome format. So for me to go ahead and get interested and not feel like it's just in front of a stage, I don't feel like I'm hearing it too much. I'm not so distracted by the piped in crowd noise. The Zoom cameras are far enough back so that you're not really paying attention to anybody in particular. One thing I did see during one of the matches was a free Fire Velveteen Dream sign, which is pretty funny and pretty good. But again, whoever did it decided to put it up for a short time and then drop off. So it was well done. Otherwise, I didn't really pay attention to anybody else and what they were doing with that. I wasn't worried so much about the aesthetics. I think what Thunderdome did is getting us back into a regular arena, getting the pyro back, getting in the normal look, and it looked good. So there's no excuse now going forward for WWE to feel like that they don't have a crowd feel to their shows. I would think that Vince would be much more satisfied with this format right now, because also he has a crowd that he can basically control. The crowd that might be watching, you're just watching their gestures. That's all you can see, which they didn't really focus on too much. More than anything, they could control the crowd noise. They could control who needed to be cheered and who didn't. And so we didn't get, the crowd sitting on their hands and things like that, which would normally be effective in a live crowd. See, this is more of a controlled crowd. And I think Vince would probably like this much more if he could. And if he could still get money for people getting access to be watching from ringside virtually, I think he would probably be pretty happy about that too, right? But anyway, I digress. In this tonight, Apollo Crews over MVP. 6 minutes, 40 seconds on the match. MVP comes out to a new entrance, and I guess the Hurt Business now has a new entrance team altogether. So they're all uniform now. That's all set up, and now it's established. We see Apollo Crews getting the win here. I mean, it should be. I don't know where Apollo Crews goes from here, what his position will be going forward. I mean, it's somebody they're giving a push to, you could say, but it's not much to it. Moving on from that. So, Asuka getting 2 chances to go after belts. Too much Asuka? Yeah. I mean, good matches. Good matches overall. So I can't say anything there. And Bayley holds on. Sasha doesn't. And we can see there's another bit of friction between Bayley and Sasha Banks. Does that mean we're going to get another breakup? Are they leading to that again? I guess they could. But my thing is Asuka, again, going double time as well. She went 11 minutes with Bayley and 11 minutes with Asuka. So she got in a lot of work tonight. She definitely worked pretty hard tonight. And, it was good. But again, I wasn't so overly satisfied with the fact that I saw Asuka out there twice and just put out good matches. And I just feel like there's just a bit of a... It just feels so... one thing is with the women's division right now, there's only a couple of stars that are in the mix at all, and everyone else is just left out. So in the Bruce Pritchard, Ed Koskey, Vince McMahon world, they like the girl fight between Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, and they like having Bayley and Sasha holding on to belts, and Asuka basically just being the workaround to all of them. And that's it. That's all they like. Because Alexa and Nikki are no longer an issue. They were around, and now that's kind of just split up. And now what else? That's it. Asuka can't just be the standalone. And the fact that they don't want to do anything with Shayna Baszler right now. We saw the Horsewoman backstage. Nothing there. And you just think about who are the women that they also have to kind of work things out here. Well, Asuka is top. Once again, got her belt back. And in a way, basically winning back the belt that she kind of got screwed over anyway, just to get it back. So basically, we're back to post-WrestleMania anyway, where Becky Lynch passed the belt over to Asuka, and that's it. We're kind of just back to there. We didn't really need the whole Asuka loses the belt only to win it back from Sasha. We didn't really need that whole storyline. It wasn't good to me at all. Okay, that I was really concerned about, and I just feel like there, and with Bayley, these two with the tag team titles, I don't know what they're going to do when it comes to the tag team title match next week at Payback, but something's going to be in store tomorrow, I would imagine, to kind of set that match up. Oh, well. And then, again, Bayley and Sasha, oversaturated. They're on a lot. And I guess if they generate some buzz, yeah, probably. I think Sasha does more than Bayley, but I think those two together fits apart. But there's nothing for them to do. Again, if you're just going to have Asuka up there and that's it, we're not putting anybody else into the mix. And I get it. Okay, they worked with Lacey Evans with Bayley, fizzled on that quick. They don't feel anything for Dana Brooke. Nothing for... There's no Charlotte to speak of. Wherever she is, I don't know. And what else? There's just not anybody else right now on the women's side that really matters. Nikki Cross? No, not really either. So everybody looks like... All the other women look like schmucks compared to... So what happens here? You just have a very big mid-card, as it always is with the men's side. Now the women's side really has an absolute, insignificantly tiny main event of 3 stars. And every other woman is a mid-carder. I don't know what they're going to do. Charlotte would be the next person to be brought in, but again, where is she going to be brought in the mix? She should be brought back in. But either that or call up Rhea Ripley, but obviously Rhea Ripley's got work now with Raquel Gonzalez. I don't know who else you bring up right now. I just don't know. I'm sure the match was fine, but the match I truly was like my bathroom break, and basically by the time to go and grab some dinner, that I really just couldn't get myself into was Street Profits retaining the Raw Tag Team titles over Andrade and Angel Garza. I can't get into them. I've seen them too much. Street Profits has worn out on me quickly. It's basically, as soon as they finished the What You Could Do, I Could Do Better feud with Viking Raiders, nothing. The tag team division feels weak. We don't have Usos out there. New Day is kind of split off right now because Big E's been doing a singles run. What else is there? Miz and Morrison? They're kind of just been made it like a joke. That's it. The tag team division has been obliterated. We don't see a lot of Ricochet and Cedric Alexander. We don't see a lot of anything. It's just where it is. They're in a rough spot right now where tag team division is just bad. But again, this is the effect of Bruce Pritchard, Ed Koskey, whatever they did. whatever Paul Heyman was doing, trying to get some stars, because at least you saw a bunch of stars together being worked on. Was this just kind of just a makeshift because they're starting to work on bringing new stars into the mix? Maybe. But again, a lot of who we see on TV, a lot of exposure, and then just to see them in matches takes away some of the specialty of it. I mean, there's a couple of matches that definitely had a reason that you were looking forward to seeing because it was a curiosity factor. The Seth Rollins Dominik Mysterio storyline was good. I mean, the violence that went into that, yes. And the way Dominik and Rey Mysterio worked together, they kind of put the storyline was good. And they make it a 22-minute fight with Seth Rollins and Dominik Mysterio. They didn't really do much when it came to the street fight. And really, because they didn't want to do... The only thing we're going to have Dominik Mysterio do was get him subjected to kendo stick shots once again. Otherwise, not much else. And again, an extension where Rey Mysterio tries to come in, tries to help, gets handcuffed, only to go ahead and see his son get crucified again at the hands of Seth Rollins with the help of Murphy. Done. I'm tired of Seth Rollins being here in the spot. Now, I would think, I don't know what you do with Dominik Mysterio going forward with Rey Mysterio, but I think if you're going to introduce Keith Lee tomorrow, that's the guy you put him up against. I think you put Keith Lee and Seth Rollins into the mix right now. I don't know where else you go, but I don't like Seth Rollins in this Monday Night Messiah role. I hate it. I hate it with a passion. It's worse than King Corbin. It's worse than Sheamus. There's a lot of other heels I hate worse. There's a lot of heels I don't like. And I don't know what you do here. But again, Kevin Owens being at ringside to do commentary, not in the ring, was a miss there. What it comes down to is I feel like some of the stars and the redeeming qualities that Bruce Pritchard, Ed Koskey, and the rest feel like there are certain stars that have. We're just not there. I'll tell you like this. To see the Hurt Business basically be the beatdown clan from Impact Wrestling tells me that Bruce Pritchard just took the same gimmick that Bobby Lashley and MVP had over at Impact Wrestling. It is the same gimmick. The beatdown clan. Only difference is they included, no Kenny King. Kenny King's not there. It's Shelton Benjamin that takes the Kenny King role. Otherwise, what else is there? Street Profits, they have not evolved since the move up from NXT. And I don't feel anything for this group. We already have a New Day that gives us the positivity, the excitement, and the intensity level. So to see Montez Ford try to give that doesn't really work. And it's because I really think that Bianca Belair needs to be with them at their side and kind of just like put a control into the mix. I think having her out there really fits the part. And here's the other thing. Why is Bianca Belair now out here? Why is she not involved in this? Bianca Belair is star power. There's a potential star power to her. I'd like to see her out here. And so I think she could have fit one of those spots with Bayley or Sasha Banks, but they haven't put her in there yet for whatever reason. They put that gauntlet match, and that's where they put her in. But again, it's the totem pole where they feel like certain stars are. Street Profits, I don't feel it here. Andrade and Angel Garza, I don't feel anything here at all either. And they need build-up. They need other layers to these characters. They're so one-dimensional. Why don't you take time? Why do we have to have matches with them every damn week? Please give something to them to do. Give them a storyline. Give them something else to build their character out and have them develop. We have to have other things we care about with them instead of Street Profits coming in with cups and be able to make some lines. There's got to be something more. I don't know what that is, but we have to have something more with them. I'd like to see these guys evolve. And with Angel Garza and Andrade, I don't know. But I think Angel Garza, listen, no matter how talented he is, I think he's in the way of how Andrade was being booked. Where Andrade should have been moving up the card a little bit, and that's where Paul Heyman had him. But now they just paired Angel Garza and Andrade together just because, well, let's just do that. And that's it. But there's nothing to this. No meat to this. No substance. There's a lack of substance to all these characters. They're so one-dimensional. Now, the Mandy Rose Sonya Deville match, there's a couple layers to Sonya Deville, some real emotion, a lot of emotional layers. I really enjoy Sonya Deville, so I don't understand why she lost. Mandy Rose winning, sure, let the face win, yeah, but I thought this was supposed to be a hair versus hair match. Why it got changed to no DQ, losers leaves WWE, I don't know. I guess neither woman wanted to get her hair cut. All right. But for me, Sonya Deville should not be... But I guess they're going to take her off TV because of the whole thing with the stalker. I guess that's the reason why. It's unfortunate. I understand why that would be the case. But I would have loved to have seen Sonya Deville stay around after this feud and still be the character that she is, Daddy Deville, because I was really enjoying what she was doing. I think she's one of the best women characters they got right now. And there's a lot of upside to Sonya Deville, but unfortunately, an unfortunate, stupid situation on behalf of a dumb-ass stalker that I hope gets the book thrown at him, had to go ahead and mess things up. And because of outside obstacles, an unfortunate mess, Sonya Deville is going to take some well-deserved time off. Hopefully, whatever she needs to do to kind of get herself in a place where if she wants to go and ready to go when she is ready to go and come on back, great. So Mandy Rose moves along. What happens to her next? Her wrestling is not great. She's got effort. She can sell. There's a lot of work left for her to do because, they're making her something important. They want to position her more into that Trish Stratus, where she's still kind of in between. She's really in that Kelly role right now. So there's something more to that. And so I don't know where they're going to go with it. Plus, they haven't done much with her and Otis lately, so they're just kind of just leaving that on the back burner. But again, this was a storyline that Paul Heyman, during his watch, really was important. And now Bruce Pritchard's saddled with it. He don't know what to do with it. He just focused with Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose. This was the idea, and this got brought to where it was. So I made my point about Seth Rollins and Dominik Mysterio. Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton. These guys had a match that I figured they were going to have. Straight up match. WWE Championship. Very good match. And Drew McIntyre getting the win over Randy Orton was impressive. I think that's significant. Drew McIntyre is still being booked to the top right now. And Drew McIntyre is still being booked strong. He's booked as strong as anybody else is right now, period. So that's good. And Drew McIntyre can do whatever he wants right now. Leading in that division, we just don't know what they're going to do on the Raw side with him. But, yeah. He is a top star right now on the Raw side. He fits. They just need some more things going on. But the Raw side needs a lot of work. Just saying. Fiend Bray Wyatt over Braun Strowman. I didn't like this match. I don't like Braun Strowman, and I don't like Bray Wyatt's matches. I just don't. This really was rough. It was 12 minutes. It felt long. And, the swamp fight was fine, but having him just a straight-up match after that, no. The Braun Strowman heel character, sure. I'd rather see Braun Strowman take on somebody else. But, obviously, if that's going to be Roman Reigns coming back, I want to figure out what they're going to do. Roman Reigns returning tonight was a welcome. And, a lot of intensity. Looks like he's in great shape. Looks like he's back in the shape he was before he left for the leukemia treatment. He looks good. It's going to be a welcome to have him back on SmackDown. I think that's very important. And to elevate him right up to the main event is very important. I think that's where they need to have him right now. So, I like that spot for him. I think he should just quickly go ahead and make quick work of Braun Strowman and get that belt off of him. I don't know what else you do, but I think that's where they got to go and handle things. So that's where I think it comes to. Like I said, Keith Lee moving up to the main roster. I think you put him in with Seth Rollins right off the bat. That's where I'd like to see him go. I don't know what else there is, but that's where I'd like to see him go. By the way, Renee Young finishing up on the SummerSlam kickoff show. Good for her. I hope she finds herself in a great place. Wherever she's going to land, I know she's going to land on something great, which is wonderful, and I'm glad I can hear that. Now, one thing I want to talk about that I didn't notice until after I recorded the episode last night following TakeOver 30. So, Karrion Kross did get injured. He suffered an injury. Triple H said it looked like it was a separated shoulder. He's getting an MRI later this week. And Kross was able to make it through the match. We don't know where it was that he actually got the injury, but he is working on it. And so in the match itself, he worked his way through like a trooper. Now, separated shoulder, if I'm right, that's usually like a 6 to 8 week kind of deal for recovery. So maybe something will come good out of that. I don't know. But I'm curious as to how it's going to just turn out for them after all. But, you know, it wasn't bad. I mean, I think that if you could still have him out there in some way, somehow, would be great. I don't know how it'll work, but hopefully he'll have a way to do that. But it's going to be tough for him. I know that. I can imagine. Now, at this moment, we don't have ratings for AEW Dynamite from Saturday night, so we don't know what that's going to be. We'll probably find that out on Monday. Otherwise, there's not much else we're going to talk about in the world of wrestling that is significant until we come back this coming Wednesday, when we'll see what else is going on after all. In the meantime, thanks for listening in, checking out my little SummerSlam recap. And honestly, if there's any comments you want to make about this, where I'm coming from, you let me know. But I didn't have a whole lot to say about this because I think I have a lot more to say in an overall sense of how the company is going. But again, I want to go and wait and see what they do with Raw and see where they go with things right now. Because again, they need to shuffle around some of the lineup right now with some of their stars. It's stagnant. They seriously need to make a shuffle. And I don't know what that's going to be. And now we are in the true off season. And regardless of the Thunderdome, you know, they did get a good number for SmackDown, 2.1 million viewers again, which is great. They're going to be able to probably get a good bump this week because of Roman Reigns coming back. There might be a little bit of a bump for Keith Lee coming in. So obviously finding some things to kind of keep the booking. Coming out of SummerSlam, I didn't feel anything for it. Coming out of SummerSlam, I don't think I feel anything for it. And I think I'll just leave it there. So I want to see what comes up after. But WWE right now should be able to say, hey, man, we should be able to go full speed ahead with what we're doing right now in terms of how we want to book our product. And we just need to go ahead and start working on our creative, which is what we've been saying since I started this show. Just saying. Anyway, come back this coming Wednesday going into Thursday. I'll have another Wrestling Zero podcast to drop for you. Until then, come back for another Wrestling is Real podcast because wrestling needs us.
Thank you for listening to the Wrestling is Real podcast, brought to you by KingofAmazon.com. For more information on how to subscribe to the show, how to share the Wrestling is Real podcast to listeners like you, and check out the latest wrestling headlines, go to WrestlingIsReal.com. That's WrestlingIsReal.com.